Hey, let's talk about our first verb tense. In this class, we're going to be talking about a few, and we're mainly going to focus on the verbs to be and to have. If you're confused already, we'll go slow. Verbs are usually words that show action in English. Usually they go kind of in the middle of a simple sentence. So you might have heard the subject, verb, object pattern. We're going to be focusing on some verbs in the simple present and present progressive throughout the whole class. But for this first video, we're just going to talk about the verb to be in the simple present tense. It's easy. We're going to start by, getting to know each other. What is your name? Where are you from? How tall are you? These are probably questions you have been asked before when you're getting to know someone or when you are introducing yourself. You may not have been asked, how tall are you? Because that's a little weird, but I needed an example. All of these questions have the verb to be in the simple present tense in them. It doesn't look like it because the verb to be is irregular. Of course, because English is really confusing. I know. I agree. So let's talk about it. The verb to be is irregular, so it's going to take some different forms. It's going to look different depending on the tense and the subject. We're going to be talking about to be in the simple present tense. And it's going to look like am, is, or are, depending on the subject it's with. So depending on who or what you're talking about, to be is going to change into am, is, or are. As an example, I might answer those earlier questions by saying, my name is Elizabeth Kemp. I am from El Centro, California. I am 5 feet 4 inches tall. Again, weird question, but I hope you get the idea. So, when do we use be in the simple present? Anytime we want to describe, talk about a location of someone or something, share our occupation or our nationality or origin. Again, all of these kind of descriptions, things that describe or tell someone about who we are or tell someone about someone else in a nice way, not a gossipy chisme way, we're going to use the simple present form of the verb to be. We're going to use am, is, or are. And again, the form of the verb is going to change according to the subject. That means according to who or what you're talking about, you'll need to use the correct form of the verb to be. It might be different. Here's how it works. If your subject is I, or if you're talking about yourself, you're going to use am. If I'm talking about you, we're going to use are. If I'm talking about a third person singular, we're going to use is. And I want to put a little note here. Usually, in all of our grammar textbooks, if you've seen this before, if it's not your first time, you probably think of third person singular as he, she, or it. You'll see it in this class too. But I do want to give a note here that some individuals, some people do not identify as a he or she pronoun, and they prefer to be called they or something else. So we can still be respectful and we can still honor someone else's pronoun choice if we remember that if we are talking about a third person, someone who's not me or you, third person, and it's singular, we're going to use is, even if they prefer the pronoun they. I know that's a little bit confusing, but that's that's how you would do it. If you want to, if you identify as a pronoun he or she, cool. If someone says they identify or their pronouns are they, them, and you want to talk about that person using a pronoun, you would say they. And if you're talking about that one person, keep it singular and say is. So just try to remember third person, not me or you. If it's singular, use is. They are is plural. That's why I wanted to make that note. So they, if we want to be updated and current and inclusive, they can be singular depending on a person's pronoun choice. They generally or traditionally is plural. We are, the easy one. So here are some examples. I am short. I'm kind of short. That's a description. And I'm using am because I'm using the pronoun I. I am talking about me, I'm talking about myself, and I'm describing myself by saying I am short. You are a student. Again, this fits our function or our use for the verb to be in the simple present because I'm talking about or I'm describing someone's occupation. In this case, I'm talking about you, so I'm making sure that I have to be in the form are. My grandmother, third person singular, is from Germany. I'm talking about her nationality, so I want to use to be in the simple present tense. We are online. We are, making sure my subject and my verb match or agree, and I'm using to be because I'm talking about our location. My cats, they, plural, are soft. They are mean, they are soft. I'm describing them, so I'm using to be in the simple present tense. Okay, so I am, you are, he is, we are, they are. Those are all true. What if we want to talk about things that we are not? We can do that too. To make negative sentences or talk about things that are not true, we're going to use am not, is not, are not. Follows the same rules, subject, verb, not, object, complement, whatever. All you do is add that little word not after be. So I am not a construction worker. You are not a child anymore. I'm assuming since you're at college, you're at least kind of an adult. The teacher is not in the classroom. Our class is not about math. The other team is not very good. I threw in a tricky one here. Team, while it has a lot of people on it, I'm talking about one team, singular. And remember, third person singular, not me, not you, but singular. I'm talking about one team, I'm not talking about two teams. That one singular team is not. Very good. I almost got you there, huh? We can also use contractions. If we want to get fancy, or if we want to talk a little bit faster, we can combine our subject and our verb. I'm, instead of I am, I can say I'm a teacher. Instead of you are, I can say you're a student. Instead of he is, I can say he's. Instead of she is, I can say she's. Instead of it is, I can say it's. There's also a possessive pronoun, but that's different. So it is, it's. We are, I can say we're. And for they are, we can say they're. We can also use contractions when we're talking negative, or when we are talking about things that aren't true or that don't describe us. I can say I'm not. I can say you're not. I can also make a contraction with are not to say aren't, and I can do the same thing with is not, isn't. I cannot make a contraction with am not. There's no ment or amn't. That's not a word. I'm not is the only contraction to say that I am not something. For is and are, you can do isn't, aren't, or you can put the contraction with your subject and say you're not, he's not, we're not, they're not. Again, or you have the option he isn't, she isn't, we aren't, they aren't. Just for fun. Okay, the last thing we're going to talk about, I know this is a lot of information about one verb, but here we are. It's an important one. Questions. We love questions. We have getting to know you questions. These are pretty important. So, to make a yes or no question, yes or no questions. If you ask someone this question, or if you are asked this question, you'll probably get a short answer back or a yes or no. And to do these, you're just going to take your subject and your verb and switch them. So instead of saying, I am short, I could ask you, am I short? This is probably something I already know, but just in case we want to ask. Maybe we want a second opinion. So we can say, am I, whatever. Finish it with your subject-object complement. And to answer, we would say yes, no, or we could say, yes, you are, yes, I am, no, you're not, no, they aren't, whatever. So, am I? Are you a student? Yes, you are. Is my dog big? No, she isn't. I have a little dog. Is my grandmother European? Yes, she is. She is from Germany. Are we excited? No, probably not. Verbs are not the most exciting topic. If you are excited, thank you very much. Are they at school? I don't know. So, there is one more type of question, information questions. These are my absolute favorite. I love getting information. To make information questions, there is one extra step. So to make those yes or no questions, you switch your subject and verb. To make an information question, you're going to add a subject question word or a W word, depending on what you've learned before. Who, what, where, when, why, which, how much, how many, how tall. Those are all your question words or your W words. So to get an information question instead of a yes or no or short answer question, you're going to start with that question word, switch your subject and verb. So we're going to go question word, verb, subject, object, complement, whatever. It sounds really confusing, but when you see it, it's not. What is your name? I'm starting with my question word, what? Then I have my verb, is. Then I have your name. And here, I know that I want to use is because your name is my subject. And your name is kind of a third person singular, right? I could say it. So I'm going to use is. Where are you from? I'm using my question word first, then my verb, then my subject, because this is a question after all, and for questions we switch them. And then I'm finishing with my preposition to make it a complete sentence. Where is my dog? She is outside. You might have heard her little nails on the floor a second ago. So, it is your turn. Try it out in all the practice and all the homework in this week. And if you have any questions or if you're confused, send me an email, send me a message, come to an office hour, make an appointment. You have lots of ways to get help. Let me know.